everybody. This is my honors thesis. I'm doing a comedy show for my honors thesis. So I really need you to laugh because this is determining a big part of my college career. It's determining whether my parents love me. So in order to do an honors thesis at Cornell, the process is essentially you work on it day and night for months. You're rewriting, revising, just really working hard throughout the entire process. But by the end of it, you produce something unique and significant that you contribute to your field. This is what I'm doing instead of that. It really seems like the way to go. My friend was a classics major, and for her thesis, she had to be fluent in ancient Greek. For this, I have to hold this and say words. It's about the same, right? So what are the expectations here? They're low, right? I'm really hoping no one came into this thinking like, I'm gonna see an hour-long show by an amateur comedian, and it's gonna blow my mind! I think it's so funny when a stand-up acts like they're best friends with the audience. Like they'll get a huge laugh and be like, you guys are great. It's like, I don't know anything about you. I don't know you. I can barely see you. It's like, how's it going? Polo shirt? Okay, that's my dad. I know my dad. I know him. This is not like a Mamma Mia situation. I am aware of who he is. No, I know you guys. I invited you to this. I made you come. This is like my wedding. That'd be such a good setup for me to just bring out a man in a tux. I don't know, this is kind of like my wedding. Surprise! Bring out a husband. Not like a husband, I would just find someone. I'd be like, this is Doug, I just found him and he's very confused. I would bring out a pre-selected husband, like most people do. Most. To be clear, I am not bringing out a husband. He's gonna stay backstage. No, I'm not ready for that. I only joined Tinder this semester. That's right, Mom and Dad. Your youngest child is on a sex app. Aw, they grew up so fast. I joined Tinder though because I haven't really dated before, and at this point it's getting late. Like, I'm a woman of a certain age. My eggs are dying. My eggs are like, what are you doing? I'm like, schoolwork? They're like, gross. I'm like, what do you want me to be doing? Sex! Gross. I need Tinder though, I need help. The first time I was ever really asked out was in high school in my senior year, also late. And this is what happened. We were walking out from school and waiting for our parents to pick us up. It was me and a guy from class. Valentine's Day was coming up, and he pulls out of his pocket a pink paper heart with a message on it. And this was all very sexy. Like, he got pink paper, he typed it, he printed it. It was a font. Ooh. He cut it out. If there's one thing that's an immediate turn on, it's arts and crafts. So he unfolds his paper heart quietly, and he just opens it up, and the message says, Julia, will you be my Valentine? And I said, this is verbatim, I said, wait, you mean romantically? The paper was all the way heart-shaped. You know, the platonic shape. High school me is looking at it like, okay, so it's pink, it's in the shape of a heart, and it's explicitly related to Valentine's Day. What could it mean? How do I solve this puzzle? I'm not a detective. I'm an English major. I should be good at reading into things, especially if the reading is literally in words. The answer to my question was yes, he did mean it romantically. Julia, you dumbass. So I gave him the worst possible answer. You think it's no, right? The worst possible answer is if you go, maybe, and then run to your mom's car. That's kind of my romantic vibe. Is just running away from you and then diving into a Volvo. Like, I don't even get catcalled that often. I spent 2 summers in New York, and I only got catcalled twice. passed vomit on the street 3 times, catcalled twice. But these guys who catcalled me were very inventive. One of them really changed the game. He looked me up and down and he went, "Ooh, look at you. Have a nice day." Can you imagine if every catcaller was like that? "Hey, I wanna fuck that ass. Hope things are going well for you. Sup, girl? Let me get you pregnant. As long as you're in a good place emotionally, surrounded by people that care about you." You like butt stuff? I don't know how to transition out of this. Is there a good way to stop talking about butt stuff? Ladies? So, how was everyone's butt stuff? Damn it! How was everyone's love day? Did you guys have a great time? Did you drink a lot?
Yeah.
One of you did! Whenever I drink too much, if I'm gonna throw up, I'm gonna throw up, you know? Like, I'm not gonna hold it back to be cute. And like, I'm doing stand-up, obviously I'm not very good at keeping things in. So, whenever I'm in that situation, whatever friend is taking care of me has to help me decide what location I will throw up in. Like, they tour me around like a realtor. Like, "This here is a trash can. Very roomy, very spacious. If there's one within your range, you should definitely opt for a toilet, but consider all your options and, oh, okay, that works." This is all a very roundabout way of me telling you that one time I threw up in a bathtub. It was my bathtub, but it was still a bathtub. My mom just found that out at the last show. I had never told her that before, which is not good. She probably will not like hearing that again. She's a helicopter mom, but like extreme. Like, you picture a helicopter mom like, "I love you." My mom is not quite that, because that helicopter is at a helicopter distance, and my mom is hovering like right there. It's like, yeah, like it's creating hurricane force winds. "What are you doing? Reading?" I'm clinging sideways to a lamppost. "What page are you on? 30? Still?" One time I made the terrible mistake of allowing my mom to track my phone. I was driving in stormy weather, and my mom wanted to make sure I was driving safe. It was an hour-and-a-half drive, so I let her track my phone, and she spent the whole time watching the dot. The whole time. An hour and a half she was watching it, and at one point it didn't refresh, and the dot stopped. So my mom texted me immediately, like, "Are you dead?" "No. Are you hoping I am?" One time I told my mom I was a little hungry, and she brought me a whole loaf of bread. That's the point that she puts on. Or if I say I'm a little hungry, that means I want to eat a whole loaf of bread. I was out. I wasn't at home. She was like, "Here's your to-go loaf." Just a quick snack. She's a bit much. You guys know how everyone is supposed to have a love language? My mom's love language is wildly unnecessary gifts. So most of the family just gets weird dog photos, but I, specifically me, I just get gifts that are covered in photos of myself. So I've got calendars, 12 months of Julia. I've got water bottles, drink out of Julia. I have a pillow with my face on it. Because the only thing I can rest my face on is my face. I don't know what to do with that. Does anyone here want it? Take it. I can't keep that. My mom wants people to walk into my room and see all these gifts and think, wow, Julia's loved. But really, I just look like a huge narcissist. It's like, this is my knee pillow, here's a life-size cardboard cutout I have of myself, and here are 500 mirrors. They're gifts from my mom. Oh man, the most recent gift I got from my mom was a mug. This seems fine, right? Here we go, it's a mug. What could go wrong? So it's a tiny mug that somehow fits 2 pictures of me on it. And it's labeled that I can only drink eggnog out of it. And in the pictures, I'm wearing a chicken costume. I'm kidding, I'm totally kidding. My mom did not get me one of those. She got me 6 of them. I think it might have been strategic that my mom got me 6. Like, Julia, how did you lose all 6 of your canned chicken eggnog? I guess I'll get you some new ones. I don't know what you'll do without them. I think I'd be a good mom, though. I have an instinct for it. If I've been doing something for a long time, sometimes I think of it in terms of how many babies I could have had in that time. 4.5 months. Yeah, I could have gotten halfway through a baby by then. As though I'm just birthing children willy-nilly. It's weird to me that babies operate on the trimester system. It's like, everyone else uses semesters. Like, come on, what are you even doing in there? Making yourself exist? Gross. I think I would totally be a good mom, though. I was a camp counselor my freshman summer, and I was amazing at it. All the kids wanted to play very weird games with me, though, I noticed. They got very violent very fast. Like, they really wanted to fuck me up. So, like, there was... Like, I would be a pirate and they'd all team up and stab me. Or like, I'd be a zombie and they'd work together to shoot me in the face. And they were all very violent games. So like, I would be a princess. They'd be like, this time you get to be the princess. I'm like, oh my God. And they're like, the princess dies. One time a couple of the kids went off to pretend to cook in the corner. And the cooking ended. And one of the kids came up to me and was like, here, I made this soup for you. I'm like, oh, thank you, what's in it? And she goes, poop. It's a poop soup. I did not know what to do with that. I just pretended to eat it, and then pretended to throw it up. Think of my advisors, guys. They're like, okay, well, if we look at it from an academic perspective, if we analyze poop soup, the rhyme, it's still not funny. My other committee member is like, yeah, what was that? Poop soup? She said she studied comedy for this. What was her research? Did she do research? Like, the further I get through this show, they're like, okay, summa cum laude? No. Magna cum laude? No. Cum laude? No honors? No degree? Expulsion. Let's take her out of school. Let's just take her out. Let's kill Julia. Smooth transitions out of my advisors killing me. So the Pokemon damage statistics. So the Pokemon damage statistics are really brutal. They are. I mean, there's like burning, poisoning, paralysis, and then there's confusion. Like right up there with being on fire is just, I'm bewildered. Never in my life have I been like, what's going on here? And then developed an open wound. It doesn't happen. You don't die from being confused. Unless you're confused about like whether or not it's okay to drink gasoline or what happens if you take out all your organs. You don't die from just confusion. And Pokemon evolved into like genuinely huge and scary half-machine monsters. But like if someone brings in a puzzle, like that's it! Sudoku! No! I'm confused! Your Pokemon, I'm still talking about this. Your Pokemon can literally kill itself out of confusion. And it's not like it's insane and hallucinating. It's not like, I don't know what's happening, the walls are gone, I'm inside out. Ah! It's just confused. He's just like, oh, what? I guess I feel kind of dizzy, and then they die. I don't get it. It's confusing. That's what I needed to talk to you guys about. That's my vocal platform, is me advocating for better ways to kill Pokemon. I actually do want to talk about something for a second. It's important to me, so I made room in my set for it. I consider myself a food activist. Truly, there are just wild atrocities in the ways that we're allowed to treat animals. I cannot believe boneless chicken wings. These monsters are breeding boneless chickens? What kind of a life is that? I didn't intend it to go that high. It's not humane, so that's why I'm a food activist. I totally had you. You were like, oh, it's getting real. No. Oh, it's an honors thesis. This is gonna be serious. No. Come on. I totally threw myself off. I was like, I'm gonna have fun. And then I totally, I'm like, I don't know where I am. I'm gonna check my note card. Okay. Alright, talk about Pokemon. Talk about food activism. Oh, yeah, okay. So many people are vegan and gluten-free now. You guys live in Riesling, you're like all vegan, right? All the vegans are like, no! She found us! But in the old days, you just had to suck it up and eat gluten. Like in the 1920s, bread was all we had. What else did we have? Like raw meat and asparagus? They didn't discover food until later. I gave myself food poisoning last year. And it wasn't the kind of food poisoning where you're like, I think I ate something weird. It was the kind where you're like, I know exactly what I did. And I deserve this. I ate cake batter. That's cute, right? I ate cake batter that I bought for 99 cents at a Walmart and mixed with 7-Eleven eggs. That's the recipe for poop soup. That is objectively the worst decision a human being can make in their life, aside from majoring in English, which I've also done. But I didn't just eat cake batter that was basically rancid when it came out of the box. It was also a prop for a play I was directing in Risley. I ate a prop. So, cut to dress rehearsal. I'm sitting in the audience, giving notes on the play, and it comes to my attention that I am violently shaking. So my stage manager comes up to me and is like, hey there, friend. Why are you violently shaking? And I didn't have an answer because I trusted the cake batter and I was a fool back then. So nothing came to mind. I was like, I don't know, I think this is just the regular kind of violent shaking. So we continued with the rehearsal and the shaking got worse. It was just my hands and arms, and now it was also my legs and my full torso. So this was becoming an increasingly turbulent ride. And when I say violent shaking, I don't mean like cold off and reaching towards a cracker. I mean like, oh my god, do I need a sports bra for this? So it's getting bad. But I continue the rehearsal anyway, and my actors are really trying to focus on their scene. Meanwhile, I am directly in front of them, at eye level, just twitching on the ground. Like, don't mind me! Keep going. By the way, the play was called Lovesick. I think I got sick. I think I got the sick part. I guess you could say I'm a method director. Yeah, at this point, the cake batter was becoming a prime suspect. Like, my life had flashed before my eyes, and it lingered on that cake batter. So I decided it's time to go home. because it has been about an hour of shaking at this point. So I'm like, okay, it's time to go home. And I get a ride from an actor's mom. I decide maybe it's not a good idea for me to drive myself home just because I have no control over my body. So I get a ride from an actor's mom who's visiting. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but if there's a mom around enough younger people, they become kind of a communal mom, and you all share her. Like if, oh, I'm the bird, hang on. I don't want to project that out to you guys. I thought you might not enjoy that. So like if you're my age and you say you're hungry in front of a mom, she will reach into the fibers of the universe and she will pull out a Nutri-Grain bar and she will give it to you. If you say you're hungry in front of my mom, you get a whole loaf of bread. But I got a ride home from this actor's mom, and my best friend home dragged me upstairs into bed and was taking care of me. And the shaking did not stop. So she's like, hey there, friend, why don't we go to the emergency room? And I completely refused, because it was only shaking, you know? I mean, there was no indication that it would ever stop, but it was just shaking. I wasn't dying, I wasn't burned, I wasn't poisoned, I wasn't confused. So I was gonna stay at home. The emergency room is where you go if you've been shot or stabbed, and technically no part of my body was hurt. I could picture a nurse, if I went, a nurse just walking around and being like, okay, so why is everyone here? Someone's 2-year-old son just swallowed 7 golf balls. There's like a man over there who just cut off his own hand. The lady across from me, just her face exploded, and I'd just be the bitch in the corner, like, I just feel off today, you know? Can I go first? That would be my role there, is just being a monster. Let's see, where are we? This whole note card. This note card has my whole thing. Oh, I always forget this. Okay. And what's funny is the transition is like, that just reminded me of this. I don't remember it. So that reminded me of this. I'm gonna share. One time I was standing in my room and reading over an essay, and and I heard a voice, and the voice was low. It was like demonic, and it said one word. It said, "No, no." So I'm like freaking out. Like, where did this come from? I'm like looking around like Satan, and I don't know where this voice came from. Like, Satan isn't there, and so I'm looking around, I don't know where it is, and then my stomach goes, "Murr," and I'm like, oh. I just thought an evil supernatural force was speaking to me, but I guess maybe I just ate too much cheese. Okay. I think I know what's next, but I have no idea how I get there. We're just gonna pretend that I transitioned smoothly. Do you guys know about Cornell's mental health situation? Yes, you do. Everybody does. It is not amazing, and I don't really get it, because I feel like college is supposed to help make you a better, stronger, more well-rounded person, but I don't know, I feel like Cornell kind of fucks you up and like makes you worse in a lot of ways. It's like taking an antidepressant with depression as a side effect. Side effects of Cornell may include depression, anxiety, upset stomach, anemia, alcoholism, veganism, seasickness, land sickness, insomnia, supersomnia, insomnia cookies. Just kidding, you can't afford those. Scabies, thoughts of suicide, thoughts of homicide, thoughts of genocide, having a bad month, fire, ass spasms, everywhere rash, jazz hands, throwing up in a bathtub, violent shaking, sore dick, bumpy feet, leaky face, bird bones, and diarrhea. Diarrhea. Ironically, a beautiful word. You guys know how they test toilet paper in ads by putting a weight on it and then dragging it over a blue liquid? What's up with that? That's not poop. Guys, I don't think they know what we use toilet paper for. Should I talk about something normal? I have a best friend, that's relatable, right? Her name is Hund, less relatable. She's amazing, and we spent a lot of time together, and over the years I've actually developed, I have an ability to, I can smell her, I can smell my best friend. And it's not like I know what she smells like, it's like, she was here. That's weird, but it gets weirder, and the way that that's possible is that, again, only to me, she smells like meat. The question I need to ask you guys is, do I want to eat my best friend as food? Because it seems like that's how cannibals get their start, is first their friends start to smell like meat, and then their friends start to look like meat, and the next thing you know, you're eating a foot. I don't want that to happen. My best friend is very friendly and talkative, and oh my god, I'm gonna burp again! Cool. One of the problems that poses is that sometimes when we're in public, we end up getting on a personal topic and she doesn't lower her voice. So she has no regard for the fact that other people can hear her. So she's like, here are my secrets! What time is it? Is it secrets o'clock? Like, I don't think this bald man sitting next to us wanted to know about your period, but if he did, which is gross, then at least he's up to date now. We're gonna check again. Ooh, I should have put it in the other pocket. Oh, I'm just talking about you guys. It's weird because I'm supposed to comment on as though I can see you, and I can't. You guys are hot. You guys are so hot. I'm hitting on you. Yeah, usually when I see a group of attractive people, I'm like, wow, you look strong. I bet you could lift up a motorcycle. Can you help me move? But when I see a group of attractive people at the gym, I'm like, fuck you people. I want you to die. You know, some people look like their dogs. Like, people have poodles are really feminine and put together. And then people have golden retrievers are really tan and athletic. And then people have pugs are like, ah! What happened to you? Can they fix that? I'm so sorry. Pugs. They look old and like a baby at the same time. What's up with that? My dog, some people look like their dogs. My dog is gorgeous. All the other dogs want to fuck my dog. So I look nothing like him. He's kind of an aspirational dog. I haven't quite caught up with how hot my dog is. You guys ready for some fun spring break stories? I have none. I do have some. But this semester I stayed here for spring break and to work on this show. And I learned that if you stay at Cornell over break, you either really love Cornell or you really hate yourself. One spring break, I flew with my family to New Zealand, and that was fun. My favorite part of the whole trip was at the Museum of New Zealand, and it was this exhibit called Sheep Cam. It's called that because they put a camera on a sheep, and that's what the exhibit is. So you push a button, and it shows you video from a camera that was tied to a sheep, and then you just watch it look at other sheep. And that's the whole thing. The sheep that had the camera is not a lucky sheep because he's basically in charge of a whole exhibit and he has no idea he's supposed to do anything interesting. There's kind of like the person in charge of that exhibit. Is I supposed to do something cool? Shit. The best part is it's not even live footage from the sheep cam. It's just 5 20-second videos of sheep they recorded 2 years ago. Like, most of these sheep are probably dead by now. This is basically just an in memoriam for sheep. I think the pitch for this must have been incredible. This guy's like, okay, so it's an exhibit for sheep. For sheep, by sheep. And then the perspective, when people watch this, they'll look at it from a sheep's perspective and be like, I'm a sheep. It'll blow their minds, right? Right? Right, sorry, is this a bad idea? I'm thinking more about this, and it sounds like this is a dumb, stupid, bad idea. And then a room full of professionals is like, no! Let's make it! Let's do that! Meanwhile, my mom is in the gift shop gluing pictures of me to their magnets. I told my dad I was writing a lot of jokes about my mom, and he looked like he got kind of jealous. So I found the trouble of, just for you, Dad, excluding him from this whole show. I'm kidding, let's talk about my dad. I wouldn't say my dad's outdoorsy, because that's not enough. You guys know Bear Grylls, the survivalist guy? My dad could fuck up Bear Grylls. He's really into hiking, rock climbing. Those are the main two. But he's like crazy into it. Like some people retire to Florida, my dad retired to outside. Sometimes we're camping and he'll set up a whole ass tent and then just sleep on the ground adjacent to the tent. He's like, when we're camping, when I'm sleeping, I want to see the stars. And I'm like, Dad, your eyes are going to be closed. You're not going to see anything. My dad and I have this routine in the morning where he'll very casually ask, like, if I want to go on a hike sometime, he'll be like, sure, I could go on a hike sometime. And he'll be like, 2 minutes later, like, I have 15 hikes. And I'm like, I knew it was a trap. Damn it. I fall for it every time. And then my dad will try to market just like deeply unpleasant hikes to me. And be like, okay, so this one's only 8 miles long for part of it. The trail will be mostly jagged rocks, and the backpack you're carrying will actually be pretty light. You're just taking basic necessities. You're just going to carry a tent, some pots, a refrigerator, mom. You're going to carry mom. The trail is actually really flat. It's basically flat the whole way, except there's just one part of it that's upside down. But that's it. You could do that, right? So there's the pitch of the hike itself, and then somewhere in there, my dad will also update me on the news from the park. Fun fact, news in national parks is either like, we found a new bird, or we found a dead body. I wonder, can you guess which kind of news I get from my dad? It's always the awful kind. My dad will be like, 2 weeks ago, on this same hike, someone was mauled by a bear during a lightning storm. But, you know, bears never strike twice in the same place. If it's an equipment failure, my dad will really try to assure me. He'll be like, yeah, there was nothing dangerous out there. It was just that his harness was old and it broke. I'm like, cool. Thank God I've got your equipment from the 70s. I'm holding up frayed yellow rope like, what is this? Did you make this? My dad's like, this is what we used back then. I'm like, can I use what we use now? In all honesty, my dad has taken me to some deeply memorable, naturally stunning places, but those stories just aren't funny at all, so I'm not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about mosquitoes for a hot sec. One time I was camping with my family, and we set up this tent in a swarm of mosquitoes, and they were just everywhere, and it was like you moved your hand like this, you hit a mosquito. So we were setting up our tent, we made dinner, and our dinner was camping food. It was basically like freeze-dried lasagna in a bag. No, I'm not exaggerating. It was exactly that. We ate that. Freeze-dried lasagna in a bag. In a bag! What happens to the layers? Eating that is like a step below gruel. It's still 10 steps above the cake batter I ate. But it was not a good meal. It was all we had though, so we were gonna eat it. And whenever we opened the bag, we ate out of a bag! Okay. Whenever we opened the bag, the mosquitoes would flock over, and we didn't want to eat the mosquitoes because obvious reasons. So this is how we ate our dinner that night. Cartoonishly eating our food. It was like a relay race. We were passing it from person to person. It was just sprinting while we were chased by mosquitoes. The way we were eating was basically like, they're after me, Lucky Charms! Yeah! So this was in my experience with camping when my dad asked if I wanted to climb a mountain. My dad was like, come on, wouldn't it be cool to climb a mountain? I'm like, it would be cool to have climbed a mountain. Could we skip the mountain part? But I agreed to climb a mountain with my dad, and the mountain my dad chose was Mount Adams in Washington. So Mount Adams has an elevation of 12,000 feet. And so we're driving and we get there. Oh my god, I'm still kind of out of breath. Remember when I said I went to the gym earlier? That was funny, right? Ooh, okay. So he chose Mount Adams, we're driving and we get there, and he points out the window, he's like, that's it, that's the mountain. And I did not know how high 12,000 feet was, so I'm like, oh, are you sure it isn't that one? Or like that one? Or that hill back there? Okay. So we're gonna climb this mountain. It's me and my dad's friend Scott. And I was furious at Scott because I, in my heart, did not want to climb that mountain. And Scott, like a fucking asshole, did. I went on this trip to attempt to climb a mountain, and Scott went to do it? I know, what a horrible, disgusting person. So I hate Scott, and we're gonna climb this mountain, and the process is 3 days. Day 1, we just approach the mountain. Day 2, I didn't think that was funny, but okay. Day 2, we get to the peak and back down, so we do the actual mountain climb, and then day 3, we just reverse the approach. So we do day 1, where we're just getting near the mountain, and my legs are already tired. So my dad's like, okay, day 2, ready to go. And I'm like, ooh, we're doing it tomorrow? I don't know if that's gonna work out, like, scheduling wise. I think the mountain's busy then. So we're gonna do mountain. So we're gonna do day 2 where we climb the mountain, and we've got some pretty cool equipment. And we've got ice axes, which are, we need those for when we're sliding down the mountain and dying. That's how you stop yourself. It's very important to know how to use that. My dad did not teach me how to use it on the mountain. He taught me how to use it on the flat, snow-free ground in our backyard. Just kind of like teaching someone how to swim without water. It's like, okay, ready to drown? Cool, time. The other piece of equipment you're using were crampons. Crampons are very manly tools. Crampons are these spikes that you strap to your boots so that you can walk on the ice. And the way that you use a crampon is you gently insert the crampon into the ice, and the ice can barely feel it at all. So we climb this mountain, we get to the top, and then we have to get down, and that's when I gave up. And so I was just like, I'm not gonna go down. So I made my dad lower me while I slid down on my butt, because fuck that mountain, and fuck Scott. I have one more story for you tonight. This is the last story I'm going to tell you tonight, and it was the first story I ever told doing stand-up. Oh my god, it's almost over, yes! You guys know those clickbait headlines that pop up on the sides of articles and stuff with things like, giant spider found eating a lion, or like, Khloe Kardashian got stuck in a hole. Or like, giant spider found in Khloe Kardashian's hole. Or you read the article and you're like, oh, that didn't happen. The clickbait headline for this story is, Julia gets drowned by a manatee. So when I found out I was going to go swimming with manatees, I was like, what's a manatee? Because at the time, another verb. Because at the time, I was 10 years old and also dumb as a brick. So I didn't know what a manatee was, but to answer my question, Wikipedia says manatees are large, fully aquatic, semi-herbivorous marine mammals. But for our purposes, a manatee is a fat dolphin. So we're going to go swimming with manatees, and we drive down on the tour, and to get to the tour, and we're not like driving underwater. Okay, so we're driving down, and there are billboards, and that's the first time I ever see a manatee in my life, and it is disgusting. He's like, if you think it's gross if you zoom in on a picture of yourself, like try looking at a 30-foot wide manatee face. You really get deep in their pores. So we get to the place. It's called Birds Underwater Dive Center. One more time. Birds Underwater Dive Center. You didn't have to put a bird underwater. There are already animals that live there. So we're in Birds Underwater, and we're getting our wetsuits and our snorkels. And there's video playing from the tours. And, they take an underwater camera with you on the tour, and then they record it, and you can keep it as a memento. I feel like they probably had at least one person who's gone in there and not gone on the tour, but bought the tape anyways just to watch when they're high, like a knockoff Planet Earth. It's like, whoa! What is that thing? What the fuck is that? Is that me? And they explain the rules, and the rules are don't touch their faces, fins, or tails. They probably get the occasional asshole who just like first manatee he sees is like, ha ha, take that, motherfucker! Just bitch slaps a few on the way out. But the rules are don't touch their faces, fins, or tails. Other than that, it's fucking Fight Club. So we get in the water, we start swimming with the manatees, and the manatees are super chill. We're like hanging out with the manatees, we're touching them, they're totally cool with it. I'm like, wow, manatees are gentle giants. I was very wrong. I'm gonna tell this part of the story from the manatee's perspective. So he's swimming along, he's coming back from brunch, and then all of a sudden, he locks eyes with the most beautiful creature he has ever seen. And he has like a Titanic little love story moment. He's like, every night in my dreams, I see you, I feel you, near, far, wherever. He grabbed me. I swear to God, he grabbed me. He had two fins firmly planted on my hips like a scared middle schooler in dance. Planted. Manatees aren't that strong. No. Under all that blubber, manatees are fucking ripped. They're like semi-herbivorous Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So this manatee is grabbing me, and I'm freaking out. This manatee's like, hey there, friend! And I'm like losing my mind. Because in my 10-year-old mind, like I'm touching his fins, and technically I've broken a rule. So if I break another rule, I'm going to go to prison. So I'm trying really hard not to touch his face, or his face down here, his tail, and I'm like trying so hard not to like kick or like, so I'm trying to get away from him and I can't. That's when the manatee decides he's gonna turn me sideways. Fun fact about snorkels, they don't work when they're sideways. So to the manatee, this is a fun thing we're doing together. He's telling all his friends, he's like, look Bob, I got one! And I'm dying. So I'm hanging out with this manatee, dying, and that's when the manatee decides he's going to start chewing on my knee. Logical step in the story. And I don't know if manatee have teeth, but this is kind of what he was doing.
Yeah.
That was his move. Guys, I don't recommend it. So he's like going to town on my knee. And so like not only am I drowning, but I'm also actively being eaten. So I'm like lying in the water, slowly accepting my imminent death. When I look over, and the underwater camera is filming me. So I look into the camera and I'm thinking about like what it must be recording. I'm like, this is the stupidest way to die. So I start laughing, and I'm using up all my air, so I'm definitely gonna die now. And the manatee miraculously gets bored of mouth groping my knee, so he lets me go and I swim away. I wanna end, that's it. That's it, it's over. No, I wanna end by pointing out that, for obvious reasons, we bought the tape. We bought the shit out of that tape. And I just want to think about all the other families and stoners who bought it and got to that part and were like, what the fuck?